The battle for the mind of North America will be fought in the video arena, the Videodrome.
All right now. Okay. This video is going to be about Black Sabbath and doom metal. Specifically, this album, Master of Reality, the third album. It's my favorite Black Sabbath record. Of course, on all LP stickers, you got the 33 and a third. 1/3, .33333. And just to cut right to the point, is Black Sabbath, which is traditionally perceived to be like satanic or evil, but we know everything is inverted, everything's upside down. Is Black Sabbath actually Christian rock? Because they call good evil and call evil good. So first I'm just going to look at a couple of the lyrics. So the first song, Sweet Leaf, obviously is about weed. I'm just going to kind of skip over and I'll come back to it. A lot of doom metal songs are about weed, like I love weed. And look, man, I've been known to, have a puff or two before bed or whatever, but I feel like as a grown man, it gets kind of embarrassing with yeah, it's fine, you smoke weed, but you don't have to have blacklight posters up in your room and t-shirts and all types of stuff like that. But I'll come back to that because I want to look at the holy anointing oil and Cannabis. But let's read these lyrics and tell me, are these satanic or Christian lyrics? Have you ever thought about your soul? Can it be saved? Or perhaps you think that when you're dead, you just stay in your grave. I read that like, what are you, an idiot? You think that when you're dead, you just stay in your grave? Is God just a thought within your head? Or is he a part of you? Is Christ just a name that you read in a book when you were in school? When you think about death, do you lose your breath or do you keep your cool? Would you like to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? No comment. But I kind of see this as in this time period, 60s, 70s, where we're going through a reset and society is transforming, going into whatever you want to call it, the new age, age of Aquarius, whatever. But I think they knew they were going to lose control of people's minds through the old paradigm, no matter what, which is traditional Christianity ruling the world, the Vatican and the huge Protestant churches, Mormonism, etc. So they're going to lose that old traditional power structure, but they want to try to filter, funnel people back into a new control structure. So they present these two options, like the Beedulls, which they present as very wholesome and good, but is actually satanic. And then they present this stuff, they present it as evil and satanic, but it's actually good and Christian. They call good evil and evil good. I wanted to make this a real short video, but I got sucked in for days just thinking about it and working on markups and stuff. But would you like to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? Well, I have seen the truth. Yes, I have seen the light and I've changed my ways. And I'll be prepared when you're lonely and scared at the end of our days. I'll be prepared when you're lonely and scared at the end of our days. Could it be you're afraid of what your friends might say if they knew you believe in God above? Could it be you're afraid of what your friends might say if they knew you believe in God? They should realize before they criticize that God is the only way to love. Does this sound satanic or what? Is your mind so small that you have to fall in with the pack wherever they run? Will you still sneer when death is near and say they may as well worship the sun? Ooh, like, how does he know about that? Why'd he say that? And say they may as well worship the sun. What is this? 30 years before Zeitgeist? I think it was true. It was people like you that crucified Christ. I think it is sad the opinion you had was the only one voiced. Will you be sure when your day is near, say you don't believe? You had the chance, but you turned it down. Now you can't retrieve. Perhaps you'll think before you say that God is dead and gone. Open your eyes. Just realize that he is the one, the only one who can save you now from all this sin and hate. Or will you still jeer at all you hear? Yes, I think it's too late. So it's definitely like anti-establishment religion, anti-Rome and the Vatican, which is interesting because Master of Reality, M-O-R, more, M-O-R, Master of Reality, backwards is Rome, R-O-M, the old way to spell Rome. So they know people are going to leave Rome no matter what. But they want to present the true path to God and Christ as evil, demonic, and the path to drugs, sex, free love, all this satanic stuff, make it seem wholesome, like in the Beedulls.
Everyone, get out of here. Quickly. Come on, Ryan. Formation. Things count to the... Light him up. Show them out of here. Quickly, stop it. Stop it, please. Oh, God, stop this. You all right, Father?
I'm fine.
What is wrong with you people? Let's get you out of here.
That's good advice, Father.
This song, Children of the Grave, when I'm reading this song, think about all the stuff we've been talking about, being dead, under the sea. Christ says, narrow is the way that leads to life, and few that find it. Remember, Adam and Eve never ate from the tree of life. Okay, they only ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They never ate from the tree of life. So we're in death still. Children of the grave. Think about what's going on today, too. Revolution in their minds. The children start to march against the world they have to live in. Oh, the hate that's in their hearts. They're tired of being pushed around and told what to do. They'll fight the world until they've won and love comes flowing through. Children of tomorrow live in the tears that fall today. Will the sunrise of tomorrow bring in peace in any way? Must the world live in the shadow of atomic fear? Can they win the fight for peace, or will they disappear? So you children of the world, listen to what I say. If you want a better place to live, and spread the words today. The word, the book, the Bible, the gospel. Show the world that love is still alive. You must be brave, or you children of today are children of the grave. Narrow is the way that leads to life, and few there be that find it. Lord of this world, you're searching for your mind, don't know where to start. Can't find the key to fit the lock on your heart. Is this satanic? You think you know, but you are never quite sure. Your soul is ill, but you will not find a cure. Your world was made for you by someone above, but you choose evil ways instead of love. You made me master of the world where you exist. The soul I took from you was not even missed. Lord of this world, evil possessor, Lord of this world, he's your confessor now. I think you're innocent, you've nothing to fear. You don't know me, you say, but isn't it clear? This is Satan talking. You turn to me in all your worldly greed and pride, but will you turn to me when it's your turn to die? And this song, Solitude, it sounds like it's about a woman, but think about if it was about God instead. And even this, my name, it means nothing. How does he know that? How does he understand these things? He had a name written there that no man knew but he himself. My name, it means nothing. My fortune is less. My future is shrouded in dark wilderness. Sunshine is far away. Clouds linger on everything I possessed. Now they're gone. Oh, where can I go to and what can I do? Nothing can please me. Only thoughts are of you. You just laughed when I begged you to stay. I've not stopped crying since you went away. This world is a lonely place. You're on your own. Guess I will go home, sit down and moan. Crying and thinking is all that I do. Memories I have remind me of you. Last song on this record, Into the Void. Rocket engines burning fuel so fast, up into the night sky they blast. Through the universe the engines whine. Could it be the end of man and time? Time no longer. Apocalypse. Back to Earth, the flame of life burns low. I imagine it like the rocket just coming right back down to Earth. Back to Earth, the flame of life burns low. Earth is dying. Everywhere is misery and woe. Pollution kills the air, the land, the sea. Man prepares to meet his destiny. Burning metal through the atmosphere. Earth remains in worry, hate, and fear, with the hateful battles raging on. Rockets flying to the glowing sun. Through the empires of eternal void, freedom from the final suicide. Freedom fighters sent out to the sun, corona of the sun, escape from brainwashed minds and pollution, leave the earth to all its sin and hate, find another world where freedom awaits. And you could also think of this like instead of about space and rocket ships, like Isaiah, there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. Past the stars and fields of ancient void, through the shields of darkness, where they find love upon a land and a world unknown, where the songs of freedom make their home. Leave the earth to Satan and his slaves. Leave them to their future in their graves. See, they're already dead. We're all dead. Leave them to their future in their graves. Make a home where love is there to stay, peace and happiness in every day. Kind of corny, but... And the record I was playing in the background in the last video was this record, Sleep, Holy Mountain. This is a newer band from... This record came out in 92, I believe. But doom metal is just probably one of the most popular, famous doom metal bands. And doom metal is basically bands that just kind of copy Black Sabbath, love the sound, that super bassy tritone doom metal sound of like the first 4 Black Sabbath records, and take it like even further, get even crazier amps, orange amps and mad amps with super high gain, and just taking that all the way to its conclusion, seeing how far down tune you can go, how crazy the amps can be. And a lot of the songs are about the same stuff. It's all about weed. It's always about weed. But even the lyrics on this record, like, it's definitely not as Christian as Black Sabbath. It is more overtly, like, demonic kind of occult shit. But I want to look at a couple of these, because even these lyrics are crazy. This Sleep song is called Aquarian. You know, like Age of Aquarius, Aquarian, follow the man with the water pitcher. Trapped in a world under leagues of ocean, the clergy arrives with the magic potion. What's the magic potion? Adrenochromation? Trapped in a world under leagues of ocean, clergy arrives with adrenochromation. Anyway, but like, how do they know this? Where does this come from? Trapped inside a world under leagues of ocean. Or like, have people that are into the occult just always known this or something? Struck me as crazy. There's also a bunch of stuff on this record about the reptile masters and stuff like that, reptilians. Trapped in a world under leagues of ocean, the clergy arrives with the magic potion, adrenochromation. I put my mouth into the cup of potion, sip down the nectar, and escape the ocean. So like, what, does that bring them up top? Sip down the nectar and escape the ocean. Reaching for the sun, leave Atlantis, Tyrus, Atlantis, under the sea. Reaching for the sun, leave Atlantis, escape the sea. Fly into the sky, leave behind Atlantean key, escape the sea. Escape the sea with ascending motion. I touch the sun and return to ocean. See, like, you see the middle part of this song, Holy Mountain? I believe the signs of the reptile master, sunbound space pod rising faster. Earth drenched in black, you know, like the black water. Under starless sky above, man on the mountain sets free the holy dove. Look out onto the rays of the new stoner sun rising. Sonic Titan rides out on clouds of new horizon. New heaven, new earth. This is a sleep song too, From Beyond. Choir of the sun chants inside the anti-moon. I think that's cool, anti-moon. Like everything's in reference to the moon. Even the sun is just the anti-moon. Shock waves rattle the earth below with hymn of doom. Chilled rays freeze below the eye of the silver sun. Damned souls gather in the valley of the evil one. Makes me think of Ezekiel, the dried bones, the valley of bones. Phantasmal specter of two worlds collide. That's for you Mandela effect people. Two worlds collide. Planetoid soaked in rays of electric light. Stoner caravan from deep space arrives. Rides on the suncraft toward the glowing eye. Walk with the cleric under the eye of the silver sun. Damned souls gather in the valley of the evil one. Choir of the sun chants inside the anti-moon. Shockwaves rattle the earth below with hymn of doom. It's also why I like Sleep, because I really like Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune, and their aesthetic's kind of the same. They have another record called Jerusalem or Dope Smoker, but all the art's really cool. It's all similar to Dune, like it's all desert stuff, stoner caravan in the desert. But even this first song on Master of Reality, Sweet Leaf, about weed. When I first met you, I didn't realize, I can't forget you or your surprise. You introduced me to my mind and left me wanting you and your kind. I love you. I love weed. Oh, you know it. My life was empty, forever on a down, until you took me, showed me around. My life is free now. My life is clear. I love you, Sweet Leaf, though you can't hear. You gave me a new belief, and soon the world will love you, Sweet Leaf. So I'm just let's look at the Cannabis slides I got real quick. You got to look into it for yourself, make up your own mind, but it kind of makes sense to me. Okay, the holy anointing oil formed an integral part of the ordination of the priesthood and the high priest, as well as the consecration of the articles of the tabernacle and subsequent temples in Jerusalem. The primary purpose of anointing with the holy oil, anointing oil, was to sanctify, to set the anointed person or object apart as kodesh or holy. Originally, the oil was used exclusively for the priests and the tabernacle articles, but its use was later extended to include kings. It was forbidden to be used on an outsider or to be used on the body of any common person. But I'm wondering if maybe in Christianity, if this expanded to be more widely used by just all the people. And there's a whole movement and research behind this. In the Bible, in the Septuagint, it's called cannabosum. There's a lot of people that believe this is cannabis, the main ingredient in the holy anointing oil. In Exodus 30:23, God directed Moses to make holy oil, composed of myrrh, sweet cinnamon, cannabosum, cassia, and olive oil. So we're going to look at the cannabosum. Yeah, so it says 250 shekels of cannabosum, listed in ancient Hebrew versions of the Old Testament. Supposedly refers to calamus. That's the mainstream interpretation. But Sula Bennett demonstrated that the word for cannabis is cannabosum. also rendered in traditional Hebrew as canna or cannabis. So it's like the exact same word. Aromatic, hemp. This word appears 5 times in the Old Testament, in Exodus, Song of Songs, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, and has been mistranslated. So they're saying it's a mistranslation as cannabis, a common marsh plant with little monetary value that does not have the qualities or value ascribed to cannabosum. The error occurred in the oldest Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, the Septuagint, in the 3rd century BC. That was repeated in many translations. So it does, I mean, I don't know for sure, but it doesn't make sense to me that the main ingredient in this super secret special holy anointing oil would be a common marsh plant with none of the qualities ascribed to cannabosum. It's not aromatic, it's just like a common weed. It makes more sense to me that it would be cannabis, like this, you know, something with a psychedelic kind of effect, you know, an effect on your mind or a spiritual effect. So, Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, which is interesting because that's the same dude who wrote that Kabbalah book I show pictures of, notes that on the basis of cognate pronunciation and Septuagint readings, some identify cannabosum with the English and Greek cannabis, the hemp plant. There are, however, some authorities who identify the sweet cane with cinnamon bark. I don't think it's cinnamon bark. I think it's probably weed. Yeah, they said that tracing cannabosum with sweet cane could be traced on mistranslation in the Septuagint, which mistook cannabosum, later referred to as cannabis in the Talmud. I mean, it's the exact same word. Come on, man. Cannabosum, cannabis, cannabis. You know what it is. You know what it is. So this Black Sabbath, master of reality, even the term Black Sabbath, I don't even think it's an evil term. Like, it makes you think of Black Mass, like a satanic ritual, but Black Sabbath, I believe, it just refers to the new moon Sabbath. You know, a new moon is when it's black. There's no moon. Black sky, no moonlight. And that's how they set their schedule of Sabbaths, I believe, from each new moon. So Black Sabbath, does it refer to a new moon Sabbath? And does Master of Reality also refer to the moon? The moon is the Master of Reality. Also, unrelated, I just forgot I had this in here, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff like this in the mainstream news. It almost seems like from like 2000 to 2020 was like picking teams, and now it's time to settle the score. It's showtime now. The score is 20 years. Now it's time to settle the score. It seems like the last chance, just like a test to see who will speak up. Just putting it so blatantly obvious, like, if you don't speak up now, you got no excuse. Yeah, but see, I took this from some Jewish site, the New Moon and Sabbath calendar for 2020. So the 11th new moon on Saturday, then all the Sabbaths all the following Saturdays. Then the 12th new moon on a Monday, then they do all their Sabbaths on Mondays. Like, but that new moon Sabbath, is that what Black Sabbath means? And is that what Master of Reality means? Isaiah 66:23. Interesting number there. Very interesting. From one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, all mankind will come and bow down before me, says the Lord. And then Leviticus. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall observe a day of complete rest, a holy convocation, commemorated with trumpet blasts. I just wanted to touch on this, the trumpet blast, the sound, the music, the frequency in relation to the Sabbaths or the new moons. Trumpet blast, the speaker, the moon, the speaker. Okay, now I'll just go through a few slides, just general, about the band. And you're going to see, I'm going to go into some markups of names and numbers and stuff. I'm going to focus a lot on Iommi, Tony Iommi, the guitar player, because He's the only constant member throughout the whole band. To me, he is the band. He wrote all the music. He writes all the riffs. Geezer Butler writes the words, and Ozzy just sings. So I'm going to focus a lot on Tony Iommi. Formed in Birmingham, 1968 by guitarist Tony Iommi, drummer Bill Ward, bassist Geezer Butler, vocalist Ozzy Osbourne. They are often cited as pioneers of heavy metal music. The band helped define the genre with releases such as Black Sabbath, Paranoid, and Master of Reality. And this record, Master of Reality. Release date is interesting. 21 July 1971. July is 7, 21 is 777. Regarded by some critics as the foundation of doom metal, stoner rock, and sludge metal. Certified double platinum. Of course, on the cover you got the Warner Brothers WB, the 2313-666. See, this cover's different from mine too. Mine's all purple. Mine's a reissue, a new one. I have a copy of Volume 4. It's old, like from the 70s, but it's so beat up. Can't even play it anymore. Their first album, released on 13 February, 123, and on 1st of June, 6-1. Number 23 on the Billboard charts. Widely considered the first heavy metal album. Additionally, the opening track of the album, Black Sabbath, has been referred to as the first doom metal song. It's another thing, like I've talked before about how, especially if you've ever been around recording studios or mastering studios, whatever, audio stuff, like when you listen to Beedulls records, even their solo records, George Harrison records, and these other really big, iconic, pushed really hard mainstream records, it's like looking at the pyramid of Giza or something. It's like just the production that went into those records. You can hear it. It's like looking at this giant monolithic structure, thousands and thousands of hours of mixing and dubbing, and it's just insane. Like, it would have taken an army of people to make it. And Black Sabbath is totally different. Like, it sounds like a real record. It sounds like four dudes really playing in a room. It sounds like songs that real people wrote, not like a greatest hits from a deleted simulization that they took from and put it out as the Beatles. Like, this sounds like a real band, and I understand this is all BS. Everything they give us is fake. This is all fake anyway, but like the story on the screen is of more of a real band, like real dudes. Like, it's like a clue, a truth drop to like look closer here. Supposedly they recorded the debut album in a single day. Like, that's how we, real bands do records a lot of the time. We just went in the studio and did it in a day. We played our live set and that was it. Like, a Beatles record is never getting made like that. It's not a live recording. On the tracks, Children of the Grave, love that song, Lord of This World, and Into the Void, Iommi down-tuned his guitar 1.5 steps, like I showed with the 3/2 is 1.5, 15, Christ, 555, human experience, 1.5, 1.5. Down-tuned his guitar 1.5 steps in an effort to reduce string tension, thus making the guitar less painful for him to play. The pain was the result of a factory accident years earlier in which he had the tips of 2 of his fingers severed. And it makes it, really heavy. Now all doom metal bands do that. Even like Nirvana and stuff would do that. Tune down the guitar. It makes it sound super doomy. And this story about him getting his fingers chopped off, it was like supposedly they were already signed, I think. Already had a record deal or a big tour or something. His mom made him keep going to work right up until the day he left. And right before they're supposed to leave, when he shouldn't have even gone to work anymore because they already had a deal, he went in anyway and got his fingers chopped off. And it just reminds me of like the opposite of like a sacrifice. Like a lot of these celebrities, actors, big musicians, like a close friend, family member, lover, whatever, will die right when they get successful, like a sacrifice. But this is like the opposite, like trying to stop them from playing. And again, I'm not saying this is all a real story, but just is what I read into the deeper between the lines in the screen. It's the key to the band's sound, was Iommi's distinctive playing style that he developed after an accident at a sheet metal factory where he was working at the age of 17, in which the tips of the middle fingers of his fretting hand were severed. Iommi created a pair of false fingertips using plastic from a dish detergent bottle and detuned the strings on his guitar to make it easier for him to bend the strings, creating a massive heavy sound. So they're saying that's why Black Sabbath sounds like Black Sabbath, is because of this accident where he got his fingers chopped off and caused him to have to play tritones because he couldn't finger full chords, fifths, or fourths, power chords, and the down tuning. This all creates their sound. And I used to have to do stuff like this too. I remember, like, I would play finger picking, and then also another song like Buzzsaw, just jamming, downstroking on the guitar without a pick, and my fingernail would get so worn down, I would actually have to buy fake fingernails. I would buy a lady's fake fingernail, but cut it short, like, so no one would know I had it on, but I had to glue it on my finger as a fake fingernail. And my hands would always be so messed up from work, getting cut on sheet metal, yeah, just like him, that I'd like dip my fingers in super glue or put super glue all over my fingers so I could play when I had bad cuts on my fingers. And again, I'm not saying this is all real, this whole story, but I just think that I've learned that that's what's available to us. The truth is going to be where we're looking. It has to be available to us. So we know that if we can look deeper into these things, even screen stuff, we can derive like unexpected secrets, truths, clues from it. This movie, Jazz Sabbath and record documentary, whatever, I never looked into it. I never saw it. I don't know if it's real or if it's a joke, a parody, or what. Because supposedly it was written, made, directed by the keyboard player from Black Sabbath anyway, the longtime keyboard player. But supposedly Black Sabbath stole all these songs. Jazz Sabbath, the jazz trio formed in 1968, will release their self-titled album. The album, recorded in 1969 but never released, contains 7 songs which have never been heard by anyone until now. Still, they are known by millions. The self-titled debut album was canceled when the band leader Milton Keynes was hospitalized with a massive heart attack. Ooh, the heart attack gun. Leaving him fighting for his life. This does sound like probably how it really works, though. When Milton was released from hospital in September 1970, he found out that a band from Birmingham, conveniently called Black Sabbath, had since released 2 albums containing so-called metal versions of his songs. The master tapes, believed to be lost in the fire, were found. Wow, what a miracle! Found 50 years later. Now these songs will now finally be heard, proving that the heavy metal band worshipped by millions are in fact nothing more than musical charlatans, thieving the music from a bedridden, hospitalized genius. Just like they steal all our stuff and good ideas. Okay, so this is going to be about little part about the sound of Black Sabbath. It's mostly, you know, really low, deep bass, tuned down, tritones, power chords, which are all really simple to play. That's what gives its distinctive sound. And don't crucify me here. I really don't know much about music at all. As much what I know about guitar is about the same as I know about a car. I know how to drive one. I mean, actually, I know about the electronics, changing pickups and pots and knobs and rewiring guitars and amps and stuff like that. But I've never taken a music theory class. I just always liked writing songs. Just learned. Pretty much all I played was power chords. Until I was like 20 years old. It was such an embarrassment. I had to try to learn to play guitar a little more. This is a Psychology Today article. On the other hand, some tones may be intrinsically scary, like lower bass sounds. Research has suggested that humans evolved to find lower guttural sounds, blah, blah, blah. So a lower sound is a natural rather than conventional power to it. Lower sounds have more power to them. This is why sound editors usually insert a deep bass noise in scary movies during the moment in which you're supposed to be scared. Like War of the Worlds, when the big robot monster, like fear tone, that really low fear tone. And to help create their sinister sound, Sabbath downtunes their guitar and bass. Even a non-Westerner couldn't help but be a bit shaken by it. Why does the music sound malevolent? It's not just because dark, foreboding lyrics are sung to the music. It shouldn't be surprising then that the secret to this sound is something known as the devil's interval, or diabolus in musica. The sound is so ominous that this interval was supposedly banned by clerics in the Middle Ages for fear it would raise the devil himself. So this is why I'm also interested in this. Is there something here, a nugget in tritones, diminished fifth, whatever it is? Yeah, diminished fifth. Is there a secret here? Because it was supposedly banned by the church for hundreds of years. So is it actually not because it's evil, but because it gives you some kind of power? It feels powerful. If you're standing in front of a full stack playing tritones, power chords, you feel the power. Like literally, like you feel like if it was channeled correctly, focused correctly, it could move stones or something like that. Like the trumpets, the walls of Jericho with Joshua. Is there something to this sound? And I don't think it is evil. I think they just say it's evil because there's some kind of power there. And I don't think doom metal or Black Sabbath is evil. Like, I think it gives you a sense of power, and it kind of induces some kind of spiritual, courageous feeling. Like, it's in the world today, a lot of the times in the situation we're in here, it doesn't really feel like glory, glory, hallelujah, or this little light of mine. It sounds more like dun, 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 like trapped in a world under leagues of ocean. It sounds more like that. Bum, 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 bum. Like, that feels more like our situation. And, like, who's to say that's not a spiritual feeling or like Christ or this isn't Christian music? Like, this feels more like a time for flipping over the money changers. The diabolus in music is also known, and I think they say it's evil because it makes you not scared. Like, I don't feel scared when I'm listening to this music. I feel empowered. I feel like I can move stuff. The diabolus in music is also known as a tritone or diminished fifth. See, it's like 5 to me means like humanity, human experience. Diminished, debased fifth, like debased humanity. Spanning 3 tones, the interval violates a musical convention and sounds dissonant, producing an unsettling feeling in the listener. The tritone became a signature element of Black Sabbath's music and a mainstay in later heavy metal music. Likewise, you can probably call to mind the tritone in the opening notes of The Simpsons theme. So the Simpsons theme uses the tritone. We know there's tons of script and coding, truth drops in The Simpsons. And also power chords. Another indeterminate. This refers to the fact that a power chord is neither major nor minor. So not left hand or right hand. It's like straight up the middle, the straight and narrow. Narrow is the way that leads to life. Is this some kind of power? A power chord is neither or some variation on this, tritones, or because it seems like the answer would be simple. And I think most people do eventually come to the conclusion, moving these big stones and stuff building temples of unhewn stone, like it says in the Bible, has something to do with sound. Like whether you're looking at the pyramids in Giza or Coral Castle, Edward Lee Scallion in Florida, with the flywheel and the ice cream cone shaped thing the kids saw him making. A power chord is neither major nor minor, as there's no third present. This gives the power chord a chameleon-like property. If played where a major chord might be expected, it can sound like a major chord. But when played where a minor chord might be expected, it sounds minor. See, like, because this is all just based on your memories, your experience. It's subjective. Like in India and Asia, minor chords sound happy, but in the West, minor chords sound sad, and major chords sound happy, and vice versa. But I feel like tritones and power chords, this kind of simple playing and really bassy notes, it has the same effect. It's objective rather than subjective. Like it feels like power, unsettling, great power. Maybe that's why it scares people. Maybe that's why they use it in like The Simpsons and stuff. But it's universal. It's objective rather than subjective. And just like in tablature, it's a real simple formation. Someone's probably going to make me look like an idiot who actually knows about music, but I'm pretty sure this works. You can slide it all up and down the neck. First, second, third fret, first, second, third string, relatively. In standard tuning. That should be a tritone. And like, whereas this first picture is a full major bar chord, a power chord is just the L-shaped L. Like the letter L, like EL. On the neck of a guitar, 1, 3, 3. First fret, third fret, third fret. That's a power chord. And a lot of metal bands will play in drop D, and a power chord in drop D is just all 3 strings the same fret, so you can just hold it down, play it real easy. Or a tritone is the pyramid shape, 1, 2, 2, or 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. Remember I showed you the Warner Brothers record. Remember this? M is 13, B is 13, E is 5, the diminished fifth. W is 23, 66. In a power chord, the ratio between the frequencies of the root and fifth are very close to the just interval 3/2. See, like I'm always talking about 3/2. When played through distortion, the intermodulation leads to the production of partials closely related in frequency to the harmonics of the original 2 notes. The intermodulation makes the spectrum of the sound expand in both directions, and with enough distortion, a new fundamental frequency component appears an octave lower than the root note of the chord played without distortion, giving it a richer, more bassy, and more subjectively powerful sound than the undistorted signal. The simple ratios between the harmonics and the notes of a power chord can give a stark and powerful sound. Also have the advantage of being relatively easy to play. So, and that's the other thing. The reason they play simply is because when you're playing out of these amps, these doom metal mad amp or orange amps, like an OR100, like I showed you in the one video, my amps I have, like if you try to play full chords, there's so many like harmonics being created, you can't even hear it. It's just all muddy. But when you play just 1 note at a time, or like 3-note power chords, or 2-note even power chords, it sounds crazy because all these other little harmonics emerge from the gain, so much gain in the amp. So it used to be called the Devil's Tritone, aka the diminished fifth, like the debased man. A triad is composed of 3 tones, specifically 1 starting note plus the 3rd and 5th tones. Okay, like the letter E can be 3 or 5. It is a 3 and it looks like a 5. The third and the fifth. See, we have this 6 here, like Saturn. In music theory, the tritone is defined as a musical interval composed of 3 adjacent whole tones, 6 semitones, 6 semitones, 3 whole tones. Saturn, E. And I was thinking about this. Even though they say there was a ban on it, you will hear it in like Gregorian chants, that doomy kind of spooky sound of Gregorian chants. Gregorian chants use the tritone. These people say there's no historical evidence that the tritone was actually banned by the Catholic Church. So you get all these opposing interpretations. Some people say it was never banned. Some people say it was banned for hundreds of years. But Gregorian chants, it's like the tritone. It's like a feeling of power. Like, it's not a regular emotion. Like, it's not exactly make you feel happy or like a love song. It doesn't really make you feel sad. It's like a higher level emotion, almost like a spiritual kind of emotion that we just perceive as some kind of power, powerful. And like, obviously a big part of Black Sabbath and these bands is like, do you want to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? And they're all about Satan, but they're not glorifying Satan. To me, it's just pointing out the evil. Like, the evil of the screen is that it acts like there is no evil. None of these terrible things that we know are happening are happening. Like, they call evil good and good evil. So to me, they knew people were going to leave the Catholic Church and the big churches anyway, and for some reason they have to tell people the truth about Christ and everything else, but the way they're going to tell you the truth is to call good evil and evil good. So if they have to tell you the truth, they're going to make it seem like the most evil possible thing they can. But I see these songs as more just pointing out the evil.
Look within each of you and ask yourself, am I helping my fellow man? Or am I lost, all alone? Strive to work as one. A moment ago, I spoke the very small tragedies of our day-to-day lives. The monstrous evils of poverty and despair. What of the real evils in our midst? The ones that look like us, but aren't us. The deceivers, like viruses we can't see invading our brains. Like viruses we can't see invading our brains. Like viruses we can't. One of them could be among us right now. One of them could be leaving this church right now.
Okay, I'm going to look at these guys' names, because to me this is a huge band. There's something here. Especially Tony Iommi. I'm going to really look at this. But Black Sabbath, the B is 13, Master of Reality, M is 13. B is 13 and M is 13. So we have like this 13 code again. The Black Sabbath is the New Moon Sabbath. The album is Master of Reality. So both are referring to the moon. You see, Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, both about the moon. Ozzy Osbourne, O is 15, reduces to a 6. So it's O, 6, 6. And Z is 26, but you could take it like 2, 6, 2 6s, 6, 6. So his, the OZZO, is like all sixes. Geezer Butler, the G looks like a 6, but it's 7. The B is 13, the 6th prime. He's got the EE in the middle of his name, the 33. So you could take that G to be a 6. 6, 13, the 6th prime, another 6, 6. Bill Ward. Okay, you could take it William Ward, 23, 23, or 66, 66. Bill, 13, the 6th prime. It's like all 6s until you get to Tony Iommi. The T, the 20 is 2. Or you could go Anthony, 1. So it would be like 199. He's got the 33 in the middle of his name too. The Iommi, the MM, 13, 13, or 33. And the 2 I's, the 9, 9, like Biff. But these 13s, the 6, 6th prime, the 13 code, or the 33 code, like I've been doing in the past in my Capernaum code videos. The E, the diminished 5th, like I was showing in Back to the Future, like all these names are all 33s, you know? Emmett Brown is like the 5th, the diminished 5th. Chuck Berry, Marvin Berry, Clara Clayton. I noticed this when I was watching Back to the Future the other day because my wife wanted to watch it. But when the first time they show the DeLorean, I never noticed this before, but it's the code right there, CMC, all 3s, 333. The M is 13. And the CMC is even like Capernaum code. CMC, Capernaum code. I never noticed it. I don't even know what the company is that makes DeLoreans. But I noticed that logo, the CMC. I couldn't believe it. Like, just further confirmation to me, there's definitely something going on. The 313 code.
The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain. Therefore, whatever appears on the television screen emerges as raw experience for those who watch it. Therefore, television is reality, and reality is less than television.
But one more thing I want to look at, because it's going to be heavily based, I'm going to do a lot on Tony Iommi's name. I'll try and be fast. But one more thing I want to go through before I go into my interpretations of the names is about Saturnalia real quick. See, like in this NPR article, they said there were rules against it. There used to be rules against writing music that contained this interval. The tritone, the devil's interval. Moschel says that during the Renaissance, blah, blah, blah. But once music was no longer shackled to the church, it was free to express all kinds of tension. The devil's interval was ideal for that. Yeah, here, Io, like Iommi. Io, the first thing it means to me is moon. It's a moon of Jupiter, Io, moon. And it has the lowest amount of water of any known astronomical object in the solar system. Like, is that a truth drop? If water is time, illusion, Saturn, Chronos, time, Io, the moon, has the lowest amount of water. So Io is a moon. Io is a moon. Like Master of Reality, Black Sabbath. It's a moon. Io, Iommi. I thought the dimensions of the moon, Io, were interesting. Every single number in here is a 3 and a 6. 3660, 36374, 36306. You got a 7 and a 4 in there. There's your 11. Saturnalia, Io, Saturnalia. It's the greeting of all throughout the festival rang the cry, Io, Saturnalia. It's also like 1-0, I, the Roman numeral 1. I is the 9th letter, but the Roman numeral 1, 1-9, 9-1, 9-1-1. All throughout the festival rang the cry, Io, Saturnalia, the forerunner of today's Yo. See, I and Y are the same, like the Y machine, the I machine, iMac, YMac, IMAX, Macy's. In later years, after the end of the Republic and the rise of Imperial Rome, it became tradition to select a king of Saturnalia, a lord of misrule, the Upside Down. We're in the Upside Down, Bizarro world, over the festivities. Everyone in the household had to obey his commands, no matter how absurd or face ridicule. Many of the rituals of Saturnalia are adopted from the Greeks' festival of Cronus. And this is Christmas. That's around the time it is, the winter solstice. Turns social norms on their heads, upside down. And look, I couldn't believe this. How you just keep running into the same things over and over and over again, the synchronicities. At meals, masters served the slaves. Slaves could also make fun of masters, an early celebration of free speech. Citizens wore the caps of freed slaves, the Phrygian cap. Okay, Saturnalia, everyone wears the Phrygian cap. Slaves wore the caps too, marking everyone as equal. See, the slaves would wear them, even though they're still slaves. The Phrygian cap, the symbol of Saturnalia, unbelievable. And even this, Saturn's golden age. It's like, is what they're calling Saturn's golden age, the golden age of Christ? Saturn the taskmaster. Read on. Remember when Saturnalia is welcome with cheers. Io, Saturnalia. It's from that website, Learn Religions. Everyone got to wear the red pileus or freeman's hat, the Phrygian cap, during Saturnalia. The switching of traditional roles. Trans roles. Yeah, the traditional greeting is Io, yo, Saturnalia. One of the earliest names for Rome's Capitoline Hill was Mons Saturnius, even before Saturn's temple was built. So the Capitol Hill in Rome is called Saturn, Hill of Saturn, Mons Saturnius. As legend goes, Cronus ruled over a golden age. Before his guidance, people lacked culture. They wandered like beasts. So this reminds me of the first creation in Genesis, where he just makes man like everyone else. Before, in the garden, he brought the knowledge of agriculture and the turning of the seasons. All were equal. There was no private property, no slavery. Everyone had such perfect discipline. No laws or punishment were needed. And this reminds me of the garden. Like then Saturn, God breathes the breath of life into Adam's lips, into his nose or whatever, fills him with the breath of life, and then he's spirited, different than the animals. And then this is like the fall from Eden, the fall from grace, and also like the fall of Lucifer and the angels. Sadly, Cronus' fear got the better of him. A prophecy suggested he would be destroyed by one of his children. Out of self-preservation, he began to eat them as they were born, the Ouroboros. Of course, this set the stage for the prophecy to fulfill itself. So this reminds me of like, and then his youngest son, Zeus, did overthrow him, like Jesus. It's kind of like, so people are just like animals, then he civilized them, bring them into the garden, teaches them. But then it's like Lucifer falling. The moon, Saturn's speaker, is corrupted. Fear got the better of him. It's corrupted, infected. And it starts putting out this fear frequency. He's infected with fear. And he begins to eat their children as they're born out of self-preservation. The Ouroboros, this parasite system where you have to kill to live. And everything, the competition system, you're always eating, it's always eating itself to survive at our expense. Of course, this set the stage for the prophecy to fulfill itself. His youngest son, Zeus, Jesus. Hey Zeus, youngest son did overthrow him, forcing Cronus to disgorge his siblings, like Christ paying the ransom for all of us. Just like fractals of this same story spread all over, repeating over and over again. So Io is a moon, and it's the greeting symbolizing Saturnalia. Okay, so another thing with Io is the power symbol. Okay, it is the power button on your computer, on your phone, on your TV, whatever. This is the power symbol. Is there power in this tone of Saturn, the tritone, the power chord, the sound? The moon, Lucifer, but you see it's an I and an O, like Saturn, I-O, the power symbol. It's also a 1 and a 0, binary, the script. The moon and Saturn, the speaker powering the script, the matrix, the binary, the 2/3. So I-O, pattern, 1-0, binary. And if you turn it on its side, it is Saturn. It's I-O, the symbol of Saturn, Saturnalia, I-O, power, and it also is literally a picture, a pictograph of Saturn. One thing, it looks like a Q, 17, the 7th prime, like God number, Father number, divine number. A G, 7. It also, so G is 7 and Q is 17, the 17th prime, this power. God power, 777. The G and the Q, 17, the 7th prime, and 7. Okay? And it also is a picture of Saturn. The O is the planet, and the I, it's on a side profile. The 1, the I, is the ring. You see, it's showing you the ring around Saturn, just like half of it. It's like a side profile of Saturn. If you're looking straight on at the ring, so the ring just looks like a flat disc, the I of I-O is the ring of Saturn. The power button, the power symbol, Saturn, I-O. So when you look at Tony Iommi, his name at the bottom, I-O, like the moon, like power, like Saturn, and me, I-O, me, M-I. So in Iommi, the other thing I was thinking about was me. Like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Me. I don't know how you say this. Solfeggio. In major Romance and Slavic languages, the symbols do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and si are used to name notes the same way that the letters C, D, E, F, G, A, and B are used to name notes in English. Solfege is simply singing the names of the notes. The system is called fixed do, used all over the world. And if you look here, mi is 3. Do, re, mi. Okay, so it's major scale degree 3. The 3rd note is mi. I-O, mi. Moon 3. Saturn 3. Also, look, 5 is soul, like the sun. 5, man, humanity, Christ, the sun. 5, soul. Number of half steps from do, 7, God. Also, the 3, me or ma, like sons of ma sons, 33. 5, soul, but me, I-O, me is 3. And in the letter notes, it corresponds to E. Me is 3 and me is E, okay? Me is 3, me is E. Soul is G, 7. See, so soul is 5, Christ, but it's G, the note G, 7. So now I'm going to go into their names. Ozzy Osbourne, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, Tony Iommi. All these 13s, 3s, and the 9s. Iommi. Black Sabbath, 13. Master of Reality, 13. M-O-R, Master of Reality. Rome, R-O-M. Okay, so Ozzy Osbourne. Oz obviously makes you think of the Wizard of Oz. And Ozzy, O-Z-Z-Y. Oz and Z-Y backwards, Y-Z. Wise. Y-Z. Wise. Wise. Wizard. Wizard of Oz. Oz is illusion, the matrix, the upside down. And Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne, could be Osborne or Osburn. Like born into the land of Oz or to burn Oz. Born into the matrix to destroy the matrix. And he's the wizard, the singer, the actor, performer, the man, behind the curtain. He doesn't write any of the words or any of the songs. So he's the Wizard of Oz, Ozzy Osbourne. Bill Ward, the drummer, the timekeeper, keeper of time, William Bill Ward. And Bill Ward, if you switch the B and the W, will bard. Will, like your intent, your power, your goal. Bard, the music encouraging you, your will bard, like the music of your power. Drummer, the timekeeper, will, intent, or instructions upon death. Well, that's where we are in death. That's your will, your last will and testament. Bill, it's like Bill Gates, Bill Ward. A ward is a prison, guarded, separated. Bill is what is owed, a contract. Bill Gates, Bill Ward, same thing. Warden of time prison, in death realm, held until our will is changed and the bill is paid, until our heart is changed, until our will is perfected. We can't be born out of the matrix eye womb until we pay what is owed, like Jonah. Pay what we have vowed, and our will is perfected. The dross is burned off. Okay, and then you have Geezer Butler. Interesting name, right? Writes all the words. Geezer means old, elder, ancient, and a butler is a servant, attendant, helper, minister. Like a prophet is a servant of the Lord, okay? A minister, a priest is a servant. And he's the bass player. He follows the timekeeper. The bass establishes the melody, the score. The melody is the score, so he's the scorekeeper. And the lyricist, he writes all the words, so he's the prophet of old. Geezer Butler, servant of the ancients, prophet of old. He writes the words. Geezer Butler, the old servant. And the bass establishes the melody. That's why he's the scorekeeper. Like my old friend, mentor, told me, a good band is just a good rhythm section. That's what a good band is. A good band with a shitty rhythm section is a shitty band. But a shitty band with an awesome rhythm section still sounds like a good band. You need a good drummer and bass player, the timekeeper and the scorekeeper. And if you have that awesome, powerful bass and drum rhythm section, the guitar player can just be basically swinging his guitar around his head and doing whatever. It's still going to sound good. You don't have to worry as much. And then finally, Tony Iommi. So Io is power, the power symbol. Io is Saturn. Io is a moon. And Io is binary, the script. 1-0. Io, 1-0. And me is 3 or E. Okay, and his first name is Tony. Tony Iommi. Tony backwards is why not. Tonyynot. Tony, why not? Iommi backwards is I'm moi. French, moi, me. Iommi, I-O-me, like a Bill Ward, or I'm moi, I'm me. So why not I'm me? Why not I am me? Why am I not me? Why am I not myself? Why am I not myself?
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
Okay, and think about the first name, Tony. Tone E. Tony, Tone E. E being 3 or 5. Okay? E looks like a 3, and it's the 5th letter, like I showed you spinning all the things around before. So, Tone E, Iommi. Tone, backwards, tone, sound, music, note. And E equals 3 or 5. So tone of 3 or tone of 5. Tritone. Tritone or diminished 5th. Tony Iommi, Io, Saturn, power. So is this some encoding secret of tritones and power chords? The tone of Saturn, the tone of power. Tone E, the tritone of power, of the moon or of Saturn. And tone is the tone keeper. He writes the music, the script, powered by Saturn and the moon, Io. The tone of Io, me. The false me, the binary me. Is this how we move stones? With tritones and power chords and huge, awesome rock and roll amps, orange amps. I was also thinking of the tritone, the power chord, also the trident, the weapon of Poseidon, the god of the water, like under the sea, Tyrus, Lucifer, Atlantis, Aquarius. The tritone of Saturn, the tone of Saturn or of the moon, the power 3, diminished 5th. Does it have to do with the trident, the weapon of Poseidon, the trident? And I have one of these amps. I have a couple of them, an OR100 and an OR80, these amps that like Sabbath and Sleep and these doom metal bands use. And when we were starting our band years and years ago, I knew I wanted one of these amps, but they're really expensive and hard to find. So I was looking and looking, and I finally found the perfect one, a 73 OR100. It cost more than like any car I've ever owned. I actually had to pay it off over months, like in increments. I had like a payment, like a mortgage on this freaking amp. But when I went to pick it up, I found my guitar there too. This plain red Les Paul, because I hate Les Pauls with like inlays and piping and stuff. I just don't like it. It was like a solid red colored Les Paul. And at that time, that was before, I was still like into Satanism, you know? But not like I was an atheist. Like Satanism is cool until you find out that Satan is real. Like then you know that God's real and you don't have a choice. You have to go with God. But that's why I don't see this stuff as evil. I see it as just pointing out evil, and maybe there's power here, and that's why they call it evil, because they call good evil and evil good. But when I got the amp, I realized when I got the amp and the guitar, it was like I was making my deal with the devil, even though I never had any success anyway, because the music store is actually a Guitar Center, which is strange that they ended up there. There's never good used gear at Guitar Centers. But the address was literally 666 Route 18, which 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. And then years later, when I met my wife, she ends up living right across the street. And it was far from my house, like 2 hours away. It was bizarre. But later I smashed all my stuff and smashed that guitar, and I think I broke the curse. But I'll play a song at the end that I used that amp. I mean, it's not down-tuned. It doesn't really sound like Sleep or Sabbath, but... And it's like an Antichrist song back before I knew God and Satan were real. I just kind of thought it was like LARPing. You know, that's what all this stuff is. It's like LARPing Satanism. And the real Satanism looks like Betty Crocker and Martha Stewart and these, you know, super clean cut people on TV. They're the real deceivers, wicked ones, you know. But there is something hypnotic about the power, the music, and those amps, the deep bass sounds. I used to just sit in front of a half stack for hours, just like playing power chords and riffs and stuff. And like I said, I'm looking at this like looking into a crystal ball. Like, I don't believe this story is real. The other reason I think my deal with the devil or whatever I thought didn't really work out was because when I went to record, or I'll tell a little story. When I went to record our first record, it was like the first time I'd been in a real studio. And this dude had a nice studio. He like got some money from Geffen Records or in the 90s. And his band was never big, but he had a really nice studio from this money he got. And he would work for like Rick Rubin and these big labels, just kind of like developing quote unquote bands and recording stuff. We went and recorded our record there. And there was a song on there, the first record, called Coma. It's the first song on the record. And he brought in someone he knew, this girl, to play like strings and clarinet. And he called her. When she came, she was on tour with another band. They pulled up in a big ass tour bus and dropped her off to record for the day. And she played on the song. And the dude ended up being like, hey, you know, the manager of that band is the manager of Mumford & Sons. Which like I hated, but was like a huge band at the time. I was like, oh, really? And the dude, who, the producer guy, he was like, yeah, I think she played him the song and maybe I think he likes it. But the problem is, this is a really good song, Coma, but you got to change these words. And you know, this guy might be interested, might be a big success. And it's so funny because the words he wanted me to change, I would never write now. It's like with something bad. It says, you know too much, so blow your brains out. And they wanted me to change it. And he's like, hey, you know, he's a big manager, music manager. This song could be a big success for you. This could be very good for you, but you really need to change these words, okay? And they had them all like written up already. Like they already had a replacement of the words. And I don't even know why I said no. But I didn't do it. I was like, no, I don't want to change it. It's like, and they kept bringing it up over days. They're like, you know, this song, the Mumford & Sons manager is very interested in this song. And I really think you should change these words and you could be a big success. And I was like, nah, I'll just do it myself. It's fine. Fuck it. And he's like, no, you know, you're never going to probably get another chance like this again. Someone like this could make you very successful. But you really, it's a good idea to be very successful if you change these words we have written for you here. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. So I didn't change them. And it's so funny because like how God uses everything for good. Because I would have been totally debased. I would have got totally sucked into it. Just like ego-driven idiot, and I never would have learned anything about myself or anything else. So I feel like I was like protected from that. Then at the end, they were like, he was like, hey, I have a band coming in here after you for Rick Rubin. And it's just like a boy band, like a fake band they put together. He's like, how would you like to write songs for other bands? You can stay here and work with me. You can be big success writing songs, but your name will never be on it. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that either. Like, I just want to play my music. And I feel like since I didn't do either of those, I was just like, well, you're fucked. Like, I just got, like, blacklisted or something. Like, they, like, test you to see if you'll acquiesce and change stuff. And, like, if you won't go along with it, you're just shut out. Like I showed with the Guided by Voices video. I think even indie bands, punk bands, if they're still like heroes even of a subculture, they're still handled somehow, still influenced somehow. If you won't play along, you're never going to have that kind of success. And I don't think it is like people always telling them to do it, because I know a lot of my other friends have been like indie famous, had some success in the music industry, and it's just always some weird shit. Like, I knew these two kids that lived in a space I shared as like a practice space and stuff, and they were in a band with this kid who was becoming successful in like Pitchfork and signed to Matador and all this stuff, but just weird, like right before he became famous, they moved out and something happened. They came back and he had killed the dog in like a satanic sacrifice. Literally. And then he moved, like ran away to another city. But these two kids were like traumatized. They found the dog like in a whatever, like on a tarp, splayed out in like a pentagram, some kind of ritual. He had murdered their dog. And it's like a super nice, kind of like effeminate, like pop musician. It's just super bizarre. Like, and I'm just like, is it just some kind of frequency, or do they take a spirit into them, like in order to have that success, or what? But they're all handled somehow. I don't know how it works, and I've never been in the music business or had any kind of success, so I really don't know how it works. But anyway, the evil Beedulls. Is Black Sabbath Christian rock and the Beedulls and all this positive music satanic? Is everything reversed and upside down? And can we move giant blocks and change reality with giant amplifiers playing power chords and tritones? Christian Black Sabbath and evil Beedulls. Yeah, I'm going to play the song at the end I use the orange amp on. I wouldn't play it today, but I don't think it's bad either. It's just about like Antichrist pride, that pride, ego, wanting to have control of people and wanting to be famous and whatnot. But it's called Christ Simulator. I don't know exactly what I thought that meant. Like a Christ simulator, like a faker, like a fake Christ, imposter Christ, Antichrist. And we're like this whole place. We're in a Christ simulator. We're like, we're in hell, or we're dead, or in the furnace. And we all just have to go through some kind of torturous gauntlet ordeal like Christ went through or something. It's also just one last thing. I just thought of this, but Led Zeppelin. Again, with the power chords, the tritones, Led Zeppelin. It's like a code for levitation. Led Zeppelin, like a flying piece of lead, the heaviest thing flying, like a Zeppelin. It's like a levitation code. Leviathan, the moon, levitation, Leviathan, tritone, Iommi, tone E, Iommi, the three-tone of Saturn, the power tone, E, the diminished fifth, the debased man.
From the dawn of time, people have believed that angels walk among us. Some believe that demons are also in our midst. But who's to say exactly what form either will take? They could be your spouse, your boss at work, even the person sitting with you right now.